Okay, another video on the LX-5. This time I was having some odd speed issues, so kind of rushing through this disassembly to take the front cover off, or the top cover off rather, just because, I mean, it's kind of boring. So here we go to this weird spot where I take this thing a certain way off. So the reason I'm doing that is because of the power switch. It's real critical how it gets set, and I don't want to disturb that or move it, so I pry it off that way, so I don't mess with the setting on how that thing is attached to that side rail there. And that's, I can't take the power rail that connects the power switch to the button. I can't take that off because it's so old it's probably going to break, so I don't really mess with it. So that's why I took this thing out. So here's what I'm gonna do today. I'm gonna take this plate off here that holds this motor, the Capstan motor, into the transport. I'm gonna take that off, and I'm gonna change this motor out, because this thing has a kind of a consistent speed issue, or rather an inconsistent speed issue. Every time I turn it on and do a speed check over the last few days, it's always a different speed, and that's just not normal. So we're going to change this out. And normally you would take the faceplate off and take the transport out, but that involves about a dozen connections to get at, and I just don't feel like doing that, frankly. You know, I mean, and if I can get away without taking the whole thing apart, well, more power to me, I say. So that's what I'm going to do. So take these screws off. I did this earlier, a couple days ago. I did it this way to change out the capstan belt, because I didn't feel like taking the whole thing apart. So I said I'm not going to do that. And the only thing you got to be careful of is these screws are, there's 3 of these screws that are the same size, and one is different. So you have to keep track of that. But other than that, it shouldn't be too bad. There's 2 soldered connections that I have to undo. But other than that, it should be okay. It should be a pretty simple task to take care of. But like everything, I say it's, oh, that looks simple. And you get into it and you find out, well, it's not quite so simple. So that's where I'm at. So walk this around. That's probably not good. I'll take this out. I have to take these wires and desolder them. So maybe what I need to do is desolder them first, so I can take this plate off. So let's just see that first. Oh, it looks like I can loosen that plate up, maybe. I'm a little bored. I don't know, if I take this off, I should be able to get it out. Let's take this off first, and then we'll figure the rest of it out. And if you get the idea, I'm kind of making it up as I go. You're right. So this is the only one that's different. And it is, thankfully, before I got this, somebody else had been working on it. I actually painted this screw, the top of it blue, and there's a blue mark right there. So that kind of keeps you on the straight and narrow here. So I might have to cut this zip tie down here. Yeah, it sure looks like that I can probably cut that out. So we'll get some nippers out. That. Jump bar. We don't get. Top his last swing out. Okay, so right here I'm getting out kind of a glorified dental pick and hook, and these things are really handy for pulling the belts off of some of the pulleys. So I'm pulling that belt off the pulley that goes around the capstan motor, so I can take that plate off. Okay. Looks like that was a successful motorectomy, I guess you'd call it. Now I gotta clean up these solder connections here, and then we'll have at it. So I'll let that hang for a bit. And put this back like that. I think we're good. Okay, another thing you got to be kind of careful of doing it this way is on this particular model there is no retainer washer on those capstans. So if you just kind of flop it around, they'll come popping out the back, and now you've got a world of hurt because you've got to put it back. So you just got to be careful. And so that's what I'm doing. I guess the early models, the LX-5, there were no retaining washers put in. And this one's a very early model. So that's later models, you don't have to worry about it so much, but early models, they don't have that retainer washer. So there you go. Something else to watch out for. We have the red and white, or pink and white wire goes to this connection in common with this white wire, which leads me to believe that's probably the common, and the plain white wire goes to this connection where we have a red and a black, which leads me to believe this is the hot. So we'll disconnect that, and then we can take this off and take some measurements. And this is going to be kind of a drag. So we got to mic the distance between the top of this pulley and this plate to make sure when we put it back, when we pull this gear, we got to pull this pulley off this motor, which does not look fun at this point. But looks like I might be able to do it. And once we do that, then we can reset with the new motor that I got from Pacific Stereo. They seem to be affiliated with Tape Heads somehow. So that's what we're going to do. So I think I'll take a little break here and get my soldering iron warmed up and get going on that. Okay, so you can see I've got a board on top of the tape deck there. It's opened up, and there's that structure that's, or that piece of equipment that's at the top in the center there. It kind of looks like a metal plunger. What that is a gear puller for model cars, like RC cars. And that was recommended. You can get them on Amazon or whatever. They're not very expensive. But you use that to pull the pulley for the capstan belt off of the capstan motor shaft. You gotta be careful how you do it, so you don't bend that thing up, because you can easily bend that shaft. It's pretty delicate. But that gear puller worked pretty well. So I don't know. We'll see. You know, just keep going on it. The whole thing worked out pretty well. Putting the gear back on the new motor, I just used a C-clamp and just kind of was very careful how I did it. So anyhow, there you go. Okay, I sped this portion up because, you know, I'm just trying to get the solder connection undone. And there was a lot of solder on that. And I'd used a lot of solder wick to pull it off. And so it's just kind of tedious, time consuming. It took a while. Just had to keep working on it and finally got it loose. And then when I got the new motor wired up, I kind of had to test it, which connection was the right one to make sure it was spinning the right way. Because I couldn't really tell looking at the schematic, or it was in the service manual. But so I just kind of experimented to make sure that motor, once it was hooked up, that it was spinning in the correct direction and got the belt spinning the right way. But you know, you just keep working at it, and there you go. It's a doable task. It's a little kind of scary, but it did work out. So here it is coming up. Next shot, I'm going to show you the new motor's installed. You can see it right there in the center. It says Pacific Stereo on it. And there you go.